Hello everyone and welcome to a mid-size SUV that combines an understated upmarket appeal with impressive 7-seater practicality and affordability, the 2022 Skoda Kodiaq. So in today's video, we're going to be finding out everything in detail about this Kodiaq. But before we move forward, please consider subscribing to my channel by clicking that subscription button and make sure to press that bell icon and leave all the notifications on, so that way you will never miss any video updates from my channel. And if you stay till the end of the video, you may probably find the answer to your next mid-size SUV. So the particular model that I'm reviewing is the Skoda Kodiaq Sportline, which is pretty much like the top of the line range. And on this one, especially in the 2022 Kodiaq, you get a revised grille out here. So in the previous version, it used to be more like a roundish one, but on this one now you have like an edge on top of it, and then it goes down to make it a little more aggressive in this black color. And even the bonnet has been raised up a little bit in terms of its design, instead of the curving at the bottom. And there is also the plastic grille, this honeycomb type at the bottom, and more splitter at the bottom. There are vents out here with this plastic normal trim. I wish this was glossy, but yeah, still looks good with the whole black look. And yeah, these are vents and these are the real ones, so yeah, they work and function, channeling the air and then throwing it on the side. Now, apart from the changes which I mentioned, another change which has happened are to these headlights. So these headlights now are more curvier, and they also have the DRLs inside them. These DRLs also convert into the turn signals, and this headlight cluster is a completely LED headlight cluster. They also have the cornering lights out here. These ones at the bottom, they function as the cornering lights, and they are also like the fog lights. And these headlight clusters are also the dynamic headlight clusters, so they would automatically adjust the range of the headlight depending on the oncoming traffic and the following traffic. On the sides, you get these normal plastic arches to protect your fenders, and more lines out here. So there are lots of lines on the body, so like the ones going at the bottom and the shoulder line, and these are all like thick lines. They really make the car look very muscular. And out here you would find 19-inch anthracite alloy rims. At the bottom, plastic skirtings, black color, and the side mirrors are black color, glossy ones this time, but the side mirrors are now power foldable. They are also power adjustable. There is also blind spot warning inside the pillar, which is the usual, if you are familiar with the Audis, VWs, then yeah, they are mounted on the pillar. And the side mirrors also have the turning signals inside them. And as we continue, you get smart keyless entry door handles, the umbrella, cannot miss that. So yeah, you get this, and it comes in quite handy, especially the unusual weather that you get in UAE, like when sometimes it rains and then sometimes it's just very windy. So you get black roof rails out here. These are like the normal plastic ones, and there are also black surround normal plastic, but yeah, really looks nice on from the side profile also, because all the bits are blacked out. And one more change that has happened on this Kodiaq for the 2022 versions are these tail lights. So before, the tail lights used to curve. Now they have this sharp edge out here, and then it continues from the bottom. Now in the rear, you would also start noticing some changes, mainly these tail lights. So as I mentioned, the tail lights are change a little bit in terms of its design and the shape, but essentially you still get the full set of LED tail light cluster as well. There are also dynamic turn signals inside. And one more thing that has changed are these bumper designs slightly, and also this reflector strip that you get on both the sides, big thick ones, and then this honeycomb black color plastic trim. There is also the black color Skoda badging. Everything is blacked out, the badges and every single trim that you see on this car. The Kodiaq badging, the 4x4, yes, this is a 4x4. And in terms of the visibility, you will find a little bit of hindrance from the pillars, but apart from that, it's pretty alright, because it's quite a tall car, and even the glass is pretty tall, so the visibility isn't going to be an issue that way. Now at the bottom, you have this chrome surround around these fake exhaust tips. There is also this spoiler which has been given black color, so it's like an extension of the small spoiler which was already there, and now you get this black color one, and also got the brake lights inside it. Now when it comes to the boot space, this is an electronically operated tailgate that you get. There are these plastic scuff plates so that you don't damage your bumper, and now it makes sort of a little sense why this plastic trim has been given, because it's been added to protect your bumper, which is again plastic one which has been given. Now at the bottom there are some smart storage options which are given, so you can use that. And at the bottom you would find a temporary spare wheel, and also there is a boot separator, but there is a dedicated place for that boot separator, so it's not going to eat up your boot space. There are also more smaller storages, smart storages on the sides, on both the sides. There are tying points. There are also more hooks out here to hang your shopping bags. There is also a 12-volt power socket. There are boot lights as well. Now in this current setting, when the third row of seat is upright, you can put 270 liters of luggage, which is pretty decent considering that it's a 7-seater. But the thing is, these seats can also be folded down. The way to do it is, there are like these buttons which are given, so when you press them you can fold down these seats, and when you fold them down, in this current setting you can put 630 liters of luggage. Now it starts to make sense because the boot space is growing now. And not just that, you can even fold down the second row of seat in a ratio of 40:20:40, but when I fold it from here it will be 60:40. You have to go in the middle and then make that hand rest, fall down. But you can do that from here too. So there are levers given in the back on both the sides, so when I just pull them, these seats would fall down. Now when I fold the second row of seat, you can put 2005 liters of luggage, which actually is a very impressive number considering that it's a mid-size SUV, and your loading space is pretty much like a rectangle. And not just that, even the 270 liters which you had, that was more like a vertical space instead of the horizontal space which you would usually find in a sedan. So yeah, lots of usable and practical options which you get on a Skoda Kodiaq. Well, it's quite rare to find a car which ticks pretty much all the practical car boxes, but Skoda manages to tick pretty much all of those boxes. I mean, yeah, they are just so focused on practicality and the usability of the car itself and how you interact, that it makes life quite easier when you're driving one. Now let's start with the material quality out here. You get soft touch material out here on the dashboard, even on the door cards is soft touch material. At just the bottom it starts getting normal plastic, but it's always a great sight because they've only just kept it at the below your eye level where you're not going to be seeing them every day. So out here, yeah, it's just normal plastic and it doesn't matter. There are these grab handles also out here, and the only thing is that they put the plastic trim out here on the dashboard and even on the door cards, which resembles like a carbon fiber. Yeah, I mean, it was just okay if it was just normal plastic also, but yeah, they've given it for the sense of making it a little more sporty since it's a Sportline package. And the door bins are also lined with the carpet material. Out here on the sides there is leather with the white stitching. So yeah, overall good quality material that they have used. There is no place where you would find a loose bit here and there or finishing or anything. So everything is just on point. Soft touch hand rest out here as well. Now when you come to the driver's display, you get a colorful display out here in which you will find on your one side your rev counter, on the other side your speedometer, and in the center you can see your display. And there are also information on your both the counters in the center that you can change that information from the infotainment screen. So you can change from auto to classic view to view 1, 2 and 3, and then you can even customize those views and see the information if you want to see the range, fuel economy, everything. Lots of combinations that you can do. And in the center there is a screen which shows you your driving data basically, and you can change a lot more settings also inside and see a different bit of information. But to start off with, you get driving information, which inside you get overview, range, and there is also the speed, there is also the warning, at what speed you want the warning, your oil temperature, your trip information, your consumption, and then you come back to the overview. Then there are more options when you scroll on the right side, and there is a button given on the steering wheel. So when you press the left one, then you can go inside and see the assist systems, your navigation, your audio, your telephone, your vehicle status, lap timer, and yeah, there's a timer also. Then you come back to the driving data, but my favorite is the navigation. Now the navigation, when you open on this screen, it shows between the two dials, but not just that. So there is also a view button on the right side of this steering wheel. So when you press that view button, you can go to a full size maps, and honestly that's one of my favorite features when I'm driving, because it gives you a good, you don't have to move your eyes to the infotainment screen, but you can directly see it on your console itself. Then you can even change different views on the screen. Then you, instead of having the dials, you can have like bars on both the sides. Then if you don't like that, if you just want just digital information, you can change it to that view as well. And there is like a center dial and information on both the sides, and then you return to the conventional dials on both the sides and information in the middle. So yeah, it's pretty much the same kind of setup which you would even find in a lot of Volkswagen cars. In fact, the recent Volkswagen Tiguan that I reviewed, so you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review video of the Volkswagen Tiguan. But the thing is, there are subtle differences and a lot more practical differences between these two cars, and the ones which I like are physical buttons that Skoda still manages to keep them, because I really like physical buttons and not the touch buttons which you would find in the Tiguan. So yeah, you can check that out. Instead here it's very easy to use setup. Now when you come to the steering wheel, this is a leather covered perforated steering wheel, and it's also got the flat bottom since it's a Sportline. There's also a Sportline badging at the bottom, and I'm also glad that it's a 3-spoke one and not the 2-spoke one. 2-spoke one looks a little weird sometimes, but this 3-one looks very complete. On the right side you would find the controls to control all this information on your driver's display, and also if you want to switch from your cruise control to the limiter, there is also a scroller out here. And on the left side you would find the controls for your infotainment and the communication. There is also a scroller for that. All these dials and all have a good fit and finish, and they feel very premium. There is also paddle shifters in the back. They are a little smaller that way, but it's alright, it's just given in case you want to use it, and they are a little short as I mentioned. Now this steering wheel is also tilt and telescopic, so you can adjust both and find the right driving position. But otherwise the steering feels really solid, especially the perforated design, which is what makes it really handy. Now if you're wondering where the cruise control is on this car, it's the Skoda Sense given like a stick in the back on the left side, and this cruise control is the adaptive cruise control, so it just takes a little while to understand, but once you do, it's kind of very easy to understand system. You can also control the distance from here, so there is like a button given for that. So yeah, everything on the stick itself. Now when you come to the air conditioning controls, again straightforward button operated system. I'm really glad. It's not just that, you also get the digital controls on your infotainment screen. If you prefer something like digital operations, then you can go into the infotainment screen and you can use that. But traditionally they've given the button operated, and in the center there's a dial, so when you rotate you can switch on the air conditioning, and on both the sides you get the dials to control the temperature. So you get a dual zone air conditioning control on this Skoda Kodiaq, and there are more buttons given on the top to adjust the direction of flow of air. Then there is also a sync button, and there is also a menu button. Now when you press that menu button, you can then go into the infotainment screen and then control the air conditioning controls on the infotainment screen itself, and then same menu options are given: your temperature control, your sync button, and then temperature control on both the sides. There is also the flow of air, you can adjust that, and then you can leave it in manual or auto, and then the fan speed on the other side. Then there is something called as the air care feature, so when you activate that, you can remove all the pollen and the dust from inside the car. Then there is also the settings button, which you will just find one setting option, which is your automatic air circulation, if you want to keep it on or off whenever you switch the car on. So yeah, that way in terms of the operations of the air conditioning, it's very simplified and easy to understand. Now when you come to this infotainment screen, you get a glossy 9.2-inch colorful display, which is merged nicely into the interior design, like the whole dashboard itself. So you get black color borders around. And yeah, the screen fits very well into the dashboard too, and there are buttons on the left side for your menu, home, and your volume and the power button. But the thing is, I miss the dial that way for the volume sometimes, because this is still like the touch capacitive button. So yeah, it can be a little bit of, and also not just that, because it's a glossy screen, so it's a little bit of a fingerprint magnet. Not just that, even the air conditioning controls, because they have like this glossy plastic as their background, so it makes the fingerprints a little more visible. So yeah, you have to keep cleaning them a little often, make sure your hands are clean. So let's continue with this screen. So straightforward options are given on your screen, and not just that, this is also a gesture control screen, so you can control that too. There is also the gesture control screen, which was given in a lot of Volkswagen cars. The recent one which I did was the Terramont, so you can click on the pop-up banner out here and you can watch the detailed review video of the Volkswagen Terramont. And on this you have the gesture control, and the menu options are pretty straightforward. You get the radio option, then the telephone option. If you're connected to your phone, you can see all your contacts and everything. Then the navigation system, there's an inbuilt navigation system. When you go in, you can put your destination and everything, quite straightforward, but it's slightly laggy, though you can still use your Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, so I'm going to come to that as well. There is also the driver assist, in which you will find your safety system, and you can change your adaptive cruise control system, your front assist, your emergency braking system, which is, and then even for the side assist when you're changing the lanes, you can have the settings change for that too from here. Then you have the media option, in which you will find all your different connectivity options. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using the Bluetooth, USB, and there is also wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Now using the wireless Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, you can connect to your Google Maps, and then you can easily use the maps which you are familiar, so it becomes a lot more easier. Then there are these smart connectivity options, which is your Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. Then there is the detail vehicle options, in which you will find the vehicle status and also the air pressure monitoring system. Then there is also the driving data, which you can see like long term, short term, refueling, what you are doing average. Then there is off-road mode, in which you can see all the dials and gauges for your off-roading on your screen itself. Then a detailed settings options inside, in which you can activate your traction controls, your tires, lights, parking and maneuvering, your background lighting. So there are also mood lights which are given on the door cards and even in the footwell, so you can change the color of those lights from this infotainment screen, and you get like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I should have counted this before. You get 10 light options on this Skoda Kodiaq, and you can change all of those colors, and even the driver's display would change the color accordingly, or you can leave it in automatic, so whenever you're changing the different modes, driving modes on this Kodiaq, the lights would also automatically change. Then there is the sound option. Now in terms of the sound system, you get 10 speaker Canton music system. It sounds really good on this. Then there is the air conditioning control, if you want to change the air conditioning controls from your screen. Then there is the images, so if you connect a USB, you can change that, manuals, and then the settings, day-to-day settings like your screen time and date, units and all of that you can change from here. There is also a drop down menu option, so when you scroll that down, you can have shortcut menu options on your screen, audio, route guidance. This is, my phone's connected, which is why, again, sorry about that. There is also the notifications, and inside that you will see all the basically warnings and everything. Then there is also a home button which is given, so this is like your shortcut button, so you can put all your shortcut menu options in here. So those are the quick ones, like if you use navigation, if you use media and all of that, you can arrange all of that inside this home button, so it's just easy and convenient to operate while you're driving. Now when you come to the storage, lots of storage options are given on this Kodiaq. In fact, in any Skoda cars you will find quite practical storage options. So in the door cards, you can put easily 1.5 liter worth of bottle and some more storage on the sides. There is another storage which is given out here, where you can put your phones and wallets. It's actually also a wireless charger, gonna come to that. Then there is also this smart storage option, the one in the dashboard on the top side, and another glove box at the bottom. Actually, why don't other manufacturers also give like a storage option out here? Because it's anyways a space which is wasted, and out here it's utilized, and it's like a big one. You can easily put like a book or something inside. And there is also two cup holders which are given out here. There is also another slot which is given to put your cigarette lighter, so if you remove that from the usual charging points, so you can put out here. There's also a slot given for your key. And not just that, the cup holders are not flexible ones, but they have this support at the bottom, rubber ones, so when you put your bottle, it's easy to, they just grip it, so you can easily open it. And there are also two slots for your coins. There are two coins for the display as well, you can store them. There is also a card option, and not just that, there is this handrest which you open, and there is some more storage on the back. But again, if you want to use the entire storage option, you can easily remove this handrest, and probably, I don't know where you can put it out here. No, it just does not go in there, but yeah, leave it on the seat. And then now you find a big storage option out here in the center armrest. And not just that, even the center armrest can slide, so you can cover it so that none of the passengers or your co-passengers or anyone can see what's inside this center armrest. And there is also another storage given on the left side underneath the steering wheels, where you can put your phones and wallets, not just phones but probably your wallets and cards. And in the back, in both the door cards, you can put easily 1 to 1.5 liter worth of bottles, some more storage on the sides. There are also 3 cup holders given in the handrest, in the center armrest. On this Skoda Kodiaq, you get a panoramic sunroof which is quite huge. I mean, I am genuinely impressed with how big this panoramic sunroof is. And not just that, it opens also quite big. Usually you would find the panoramic sunroofs, they are more of the glass feature, and then the actual sunroof is quite small when it opens. But on this, it's a really big one. And it's actually quite windy and it's making the car dusty, so I'm gonna close that. There's also a start stop button which is given where usually you would put your keys. So yeah, when you sit inside the car, you may wonder where the start stop button is, but yeah, it's mounted right where you find the keys. There is also a clip which is given to put your parking tickets, which comes in quite handy when you're parking out here, so you want to display the tickets. That's another neat feature. There are also speaker grills given on the door cards with the chrome surround, which wasn't there before. Now they've added that to this 2022 Kodiaq. Now when it comes to the charging, you get 2 USB Type-C ports in the front underneath the air conditioning controls, and one 12-volt power socket. And there is another 12-volt power socket which is given for the second row of passengers. Now on this Skoda Kodiaq, there are more buttons given near the gear lever. So one of the buttons is the mode. So you get 6 driving modes on this Skoda Kodiaq. So that is your Eco, your Comfort, your Normal, Sport, Individual, and the Snow mode. I don't know when it will snow. Probably you can take it in the Mall of the Emirates inside the Ski Dubai and use this option if you want to test it. But yeah, on the whole, in the normal driving conditions, you can even customize the individual options, in which you can change all the settings, like the adaptive chassis control, your steering, your drive, your adaptive cruise control, light assistant, air conditioning, all of those settings that you can change from here. And otherwise you can just use the normal driving options if you do not want to bother yourself in all of those things. So yeah, the Sport and the Comfort is usually what you will use, and there's Comfort and Normal, so I don't understand what's the difference between those modes. But yeah, there are 2 more modes. There's also an off-road mode button, so when you press that, the gauges would basically appear on your screen, so you can see that, and this car goes into the off-road mode. Now when you come to these seats, these are black color leather seats with the white stitching. They are also perforated seats, so these seats are heated and cooled seats. So the buttons are given on the air conditioning controls on both the sides, so when you press that, you are led to an on-screen option where you can select if you want the heated seat option or the cooled option, so you can switch on and off and even control the intensity of the cooling. Both of that all of that can be changed from here. And the seats also have this extension at the bottom for your thigh during the longer journeys. Trust me, this comes in very handy during the longer journeys. And though these seats are sporty seats, so they also have this headrest which is inbuilt into the seat itself. They have thick shoulder support on both the sides and even at the bottom. But yeah, the seats are that way pretty comfortable. I did not find them very hard. Cruising around on a longer journeys, it still is very comfortable, especially with the cooled seats and everything. Yeah, this does not remind you that these are like the sporty versions of the seats, but they are just the normal ones. And when it comes to the adjustability, you get 8-way electronically adjustable driver seat and 2-way lumbar control, and even on the passenger side there is 8-way electronically adjustable and 2-way lumbar control. Now in the second row of seat, the things are quite spacious again, so you get decent amount of knee room out here, and the headroom is also quite decent, although someone about 6 feet may start just about brushing their heads against the ceiling, but it's still tall enough to give you that room. And you can even slide your legs under the seats, because yeah, these seats are quite raised up that way, even though they are electronic, but you can get an extra bit of room to stretch your legs during the longer journeys. And because this headrest is a fixed one, so what they've done is they've given a cutout in the center, so you can peep through that and then get to see the view in the front, or you can just sort of lean on both the sides and get the view. And not just that, these second row of seat are also adjustable, so you can slide them forward or backward and give extra bit of room for the third row of passenger. And they are also reclinable, so you can change that also from here by going down, adjusting everything. But yeah, in terms of the comfort, they are the same level in the back too, so they are black colored white stitched leather seats with this quilting, diamond quilting in the back and even in the front, which was given. And they are perforated seats, but they are not the heated or the cooled seats, but just for the design purposes that they have given. There is also a small bit of tunnel out here, since this is a 4x4, but not a lot to hinder the middle passenger. So when I sit in the middle, things are quite alright. There's still a bit of a hump in the center seat and also in the back, so yeah, it's longer journeys are going to be a little uncomfortable, but yeah, more suitable for 2 people also out here. But otherwise there is space in the back, so you can shove them in the back too. Now there is also a hand rest which is given, in which you will find 3 normal cup holders, just the standard size, and these cup holders are placed on the edge, so yeah, they consume a little bit of that hand rest space. And this center armrest, which I said, can also be folded from here, which I had mentioned, so you can load longer objects out here, and you can, when you fold down the third row of seat, and yeah, you can have something, or you can probably pass to the rear passenger something and then close it up. Now there are also these footrests which are given on both the sides for in the second row, and yeah, this footrest is basically you can rest your feet against that, and yeah, it gives you a little bit of comfort during the longer journey. The door cards are now plastic material instead of the soft touch. Get this carbon fiber plastic trim out here, but in the bottom you can store easily 1.5 liter worth of bottle, and carpet lining which is continued like exactly like how it was in the front. Not just that, you also get the sun blinders out here for the second row of passengers on both the sides. There is also 2 air conditioning vents which are given the flow of air that you can control and the direction of air. There is also one more small storage underneath that, in which you can put your wallet or phone while it is charging, and then at the bottom you would find a 12-volt power socket. Now in the third row of seat, things are slightly congested because you can see like I'm pretty much sitting in the back on the main frame, so there is not much of space for my legs to go down, and which is why you see the angle is quite a sharp one out here. And not just that, there's not enough of space, which is why these second row seat which are slidable, yeah, you're probably going to be using that to give extra bit of space for the third row of passenger. I get that because it's predominantly a 5-seater, but the third row of seat is provided in case there are more passengers and you want to use it, but most of the times you're going to be using it for the boot space. But in the back you get the same black color leather seats, perforated design, and the diamond quilting out here, but it's just for the design purposes. There are 2 headrests out here, and on one side you will find a slot to put your phone. On the right side, on the left side, there's like a small cup holder and some more storage on the sides. But that is pretty much it. And not just that, even the ingress and the egress is a little difficult to do that, because these seats, they don't actually fold completely, they just slide in front while the backrest is a little bent. So that way you just get a little bit of that space to get in and then make these seats straight. But let me show you by straightening the seats. Yeah, I am not going to be able to do that because the seats have to be taken a little bit in the front, and then I'll get that extra bit of leg room out here. But it's more for the smaller kids. If you have two of them can sit out here for sure. Now on the engine front, this 2022 Skoda Kodiaq is powered by a 2-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged petrol engine that produces 180 brake horsepower and 320 Newton meters of torque. And this engine is mated to a 7-speed DSG gearbox, and as I had mentioned before, this is a 4x4. It's not actually a 4x4, it's more of just a very light 4x4 where you can just take it in the sand and on the lighter surface where it's not very loose, but it's just about like a rough surface. That's where you can use the 4x4 features of this Kodiaq. Now when you come to the engine, it's a very good smooth powerhouse. I like how it is delivering the power. There is no lag from the turbo. It's very well merged right from the word go, so you get that gentle effect of the turbocharger. Also you don't get that sudden like usually when you get that 1500 or 2000, at that point of time you get that power surge, but on this one you don't get that much. Like it's very smooth power band that way. So the power and torque delivery is very good, and even the gearbox, it's a DSG 7-speed, so there's no complaints on that front. When you put the car into different driving modes, which is your sport mode, let me do that. So it just sharpens things a little bit on the car, and yeah, now you get a little quicker car because it's utilizing, and the throttle is also sensitive and it's utilizing all the RPM range. Now when you come to the fuel economy of this 2-liter engine, you will get anywhere between 9.5 to 10.5 kilometers per liter, and on a longer runs you may eke out a little more, like around 11.5 kilometers per liter. But yeah, that's pretty good for an SUV that is this big. So yeah, I'll still take it as a positive on Kodiaq's end. Now when you come to the suspension, they are on the softer side, but not too soft that you have a lot of roll or anything, but it's still about decently equipped where you don't feel a lot of roll and you're not scared to push this car into the corners. Because yeah, when I do that, let me show you a slalom also. So when I do that, yeah, it's still not bad. It's not got a lot of roll, unlike huge SUVs that you would usually find not able to shift their balance from one end to the other. But this one does that very well. It still feels proper like a sedan instead of driving like an SUV, which is what I like about the Kodiaq. The dynamics are so on point. Now when you come to the steering, again the steering is an electronic steering, but it's still a very responsive one, although slight feedback I would have appreciated if I was getting a little more. But nonetheless, what you get out of this package is still very good. Like you throw this car into the corner, it's very poised, it's very sharp for an SUV especially. It's very sharp that way, and it's not hesitant to change the directions, and it's not lazy around to throw its weight into the corners. So yeah, the suspension and the steering setup is actually pretty good on this one. Now when you come to the brakes, there are 4-disc brakes on this Kodiaq, and the performance from that, let me do a 0 to 100. Now I took a little longer distance. Now there is also an emergency stop signal that you get, but I stopped a little further than usual because it's a little grainy surface, it's windy, there's sand all over the surface, so there's a lot of marbling because of that sand effect. But nonetheless, the braking action is pretty strong, and I like the pedal setup. I mentioned before also, Skoda has improved their pedal setup, because before it used to be very sensitive. You just put your light touch of your feet onto the pedal, the car just jumps around. But with this, it's very progressive. Now when you come to the noise and the vibrations, the build quality is what helps Skoda get that best out of its package. The build quality itself is so good, there is no vibrations or anything inside the car, literally zero. Like I can't hear of any loose plastics or squeaky plastics or anything in here. And in terms of the noise, again, there is nothing from the tires or anything. There is just slight bit of whooshing. If it's a very windy day, then you would hear from around these windows. But yeah, for the quality that this car has, it's a very good sound deadening that you get inside the cabin. Now when you come to the safety systems, you will get 6 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags driver and the passenger, and 2 curtain airbags, actually 4 curtain airbags on all 4 pillars. There is also child isofix points in both the rear seats. There is also traction control. There is also tire pressure monitoring system. There is ABS. There is emergency stop signal, which I had when I braked hard, it started blinking on its own. So that's another safety feature. There is also the blind spot warning, and there are also the parking sensors which you get. And not just that, you get a brilliant 360-degree camera system. Very good, crisp and clear. You can even select the different views on your screen, what you want, which view you want to see, side, the rear or the front, or if you want to just see the car from the top view. You can change a lot of things, and the best part is it's not too saturated or darker areas. Also, it works very well. It's actually pretty smooth, and even the frame rates are very good on this reversing camera. Now when you come to the pricing, this Skoda Kodiaq is priced at 169,000 dirhams, which is this Sportline. Now in order to justify this car's price, I'll tell you, this car is spacious, it's practical, it's kind of affordable if you think of it as a 7-seater, and it's also got all the latest tech, and it's also simplified to use so that you don't get dazzled by so much tech which has been given otherwise in a lot of cars these days, in the modern cars, where you don't know what button will do what. But on this, it's pretty straightforward, yet it's simple because there are lots of buttons also wherever that is needed. So it's a very enriching experience when you are inside this car and interacting with it, and for that I really like this car. And to be honest, for a lot of people, it's going to be a value for money car for sure. It actually puts in a very strong argument for itself in the category, which is the mid-size SUV. So if you are looking for a mid-size SUV, make sure to check this car out, because yeah, you're probably going to be left quite impressed. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Give this video a thumbs up, and if you want to subscribe to my channel, then you can click here, and if you want to watch more videos, then click here. Make sure to share the video as well so that more people can discover it. Thank you for watching this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye bye, take care and stay safe.